A very good evening to all our viewers. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Evening Review. My name is Taiwan Jabela, your host. Let's have tonight, as a matter of fact, we're talking about labor issues on the show. There's been so much going on. Chinatown, protests by political parties, popping up at workplaces of employers, and we will be having that conversation shortly after this break. Now, joining me on the show tonight to discuss the current labor unrest in the country is Secretary General of the of the National Union of Namibian Workers, NUNW, that is Job Muniaro. Job, thank you for returning to the show.
Thank you, and also good evening to all listeners and
viewers
and the Namibian workers.
The Namibian workers. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So let's talk quickly about the issue of what has been happening in Chinatown. I don't know if I missed communication or anything to that effect, but we haven't seen your union, your federation, or any of its affiliates pronouncing themselves on the situation. What is happening?
Thank you very much. It's sometimes we must make a difference between a person who holds the bull by the horns, and a person who holds the bull by the tail.
Yeah. So who's having it by the horn?
So if you follow properly, the bull in this country is only held by NUNW, on his horns. So when you follow properly, there is nobody who has been talking about Chinatown except NUNW all along. And we equally doing it even a month before this activity. We had a meeting with the Chinese ambassador's office, 3 meetings in fact. We are the only people who made sure that the Chinese has got no excuses of respecting our laws, going to a stage where we have translated Mandarin into the Labor Act into Mandarin, so that the Chinese can understand what they are violating. You see, when someone was shot in Diwundu, we were there. Nobody else was there. We drove from here to Diwundu to see and sympathize. When the 2 cases happened at the police headquarters, when the persons fall, the other one, iron ran through the head, we are the people who went to close down that operation because there was no safety officer. So when you look into the constructions of road, in fact, you can't take anybody there because you need someone to go there with knowledges. When you want to speak about safety and health of workers, we are the people who has the qualified, trained people from the law up to the material that the people are using, how they are damaging, how dangerous they are, and those things. When you go to the use of tar roads, we will be able to tell you a lot of equipment and a lot of liquids that are used and the danger thereof. When you look into what transpired on these mines at the marble mines. We were the only person who took a mission, even asking the Namibian newspaper to accompany us for a fact-finding mission. So those ones who came late, and the bull is almost gone, you have to take the tail. And when you take the tail of a bull, you fall hard.
You fall hard. So tell me, Job, when you say that in Divundu, for example, you took that trip to Divundu, for example, I mean, because I'm trying to see whether you are proactive or reactive, because if you go to Divundu because someone has been shot, that is you showing up after the damage is already done. Why, for example, if there are issues at Chinatown, why do you have to go to the ambassador? Why don't you just go to the people who are violating the law?
We must provide leadership, comrade. We are not here to instigate violence. That's not our purpose. Our laws that is in this country must be able to protect the Namibian workers and foreign workers that come to transfer skills, also to allow them to send remittances to their families home. That can only be done in a peaceful country.
Yes.
So when we speak about that, why we are going to the Chinese ambassador, it's a fact. That's the first stop, because most of the companies are importing from China to here. Secondly, most of them are state-owned companies. And state-owned companies tells you they are selling on behalf of the government. Where do you want us to go?
Yeah, no, because you see, if an employer is violating the labor law and abusing their employees, naturally, and then they hear that the unions are not even coming there; they're just going to the high offices. I mean, why should that employer be shaken because you are not confronting them? I'm not asking for violence. I'm saying that you have a responsibility to go on the ground and say, comrade, this is not what must happen.
You see, we at NUNW, we are leaders. We are not witch doctors.
Yeah.
We provide leadership. People were talking about things we have established some years ago that they have read in newspapers what NUNW is doing. This is what they are using today to invade Chinatown. When the Chinese were suffering, people were suffering there. Not just the Namibian workers were suffering. The Chinese workers were equally suffering. There was a stage where they also brought some prisoners to this country to work here in this country. They are no longer here. We chased them out. We closed the companies. With the hard-top dam, red brick for brick, where they were making the red bricks, were closed. We were there. We closed them because they themselves, they say they were prisoners. When they were constructing some mines here, they brought prisoners. We closed them and said, no prisoners in this country. We have also prisoners. So when you look into the salaries that they got first, they were getting 300, 350 per month. No transport cost, nothing. It's a matter of negotiation, matter of talking to the people. But so if you say, I'm going to close Chinatown, you are not going to rescue the life of these workers. The only rescue, when you see this table, sit around the table, talk. If the person is giving you an excuse of not knowing, let him know that this is transgression. So the Ministry of Labor was fully 100% there. We had a workshop even over the weekend where we called all the Chinese shop owners at the country club to explain to them what is unwanted in this country, and how they should treat their workers and what they must pay the workers.
Well, is it working though? Because if you say that for a very long time you've been, because you're saying, this is nothing new, we've known these things before and we've had conversations with relevant people before, but the things are still happening. So
I'm saying if the people was paid 300 and today they were all paid over $1,000, is that 1.8, 1.5 up to 3,000 per month that they're getting? But it's through negotiation.
But the issues that are still, the reason why people are threatening to close down Chinatown is because there are issues there that are still happening. It's not just out of excitement, it's because there are issues there. So the question then is your strategy working? Because the things that you are saying you are fighting against are still existing.
I think what you are talking of, the issues is still coming, we need to discuss. I'll still tell you what the issue is. Yeah. That's not about the salary.
Yeah.
It's not about taking the mess of the others to the toilet, to the bush. You say, stop. It's not about, where you find a business, comrade, and you are doing things together with the workers. You find a lot of things.
Yeah.
That time when we were collaborating with our workers, and at the beginning we were just doing our homework, taking some videos, visiting them, until they even happened to know us. When you go to Chinatown, they will show Muniaro's picture in the phone and say, no, he's around, I saw him somewhere. You'll find within minutes the shops are closed. But tomorrow I can go with you, no longer close the shops, because they understand now what our mission was, or vision was, with Namibian workers.
Yeah.
I just don't want now to talk about the counterfeit things that you want to bring in. That will still come as a topic on its own.
Yeah, no, of course.
I want us to address the real issues of workers, of labor matters, by trade unions that are supposed to do that.
Yeah, that is exactly.
If you take a person who is not a trade unionist, and you said is going to do that job, then actual fact, you don't need to ask me some sort of questions that you should ask those people who think the Chinese will vote better for them.
Yeah, but just before we go on a break, Mr. Muniaro, so the fact that so you think that this Michael Amshelelo, the Namibia Economic Freedom Fighters, Revolutionary Union, AR, sort of dominating that space now. Suddenly they are the ones confronting perceived exploitative employers and stuff like that. You think it's just politics? You don't think that they're actually going there because there's a void? There's a gap that you guys have left as unions, not only in NUNW, all traditional unions in the country.
Yeah, you see, comrades, I could have brought some proofs to you.
Yeah.
When you recruit at Chinatown, they must bring to you a proof that they have membership there.
Yeah.
I will give you proof that we are bargaining. And sometimes it's so difficult to bargain with those Chinese guys. You recruit more than 50% as per the law. The next month, when you come there, those workers are no longer working there. They are told, because you have joined the union, we don't have work for you. Or you find this person no longer work there. And in most cases, they make sure that 50% is not there, or they don't have a worker that is completely under a union.
Yeah.
So that's not to say we don't know what to do. We are doing it. And it's not just the Chinese alone. It's the informal economy. The Namibians also too. You come to Jabela's Kabashu, you recruit this person. The next morning you find there's another lady working there now. Say, no, you must go to the union. The union must pay you. So it's equally the same. So it's not just the Namibian people. Go to the Kambashus also. Our own Namibian people.
Yeah.
The moment they hear you have recruited them, and you send a form to them or an account to pay their workers, Next month, they said, no, they will not pay them that month. They said, no, they are no longer working for me.
I hear you.
So it's not as easy thing where everybody think I'm going to do it right better than who.
Yeah.
They must come to the table, learn from us, let us tell them what to do. The political leadership, all political leaders, does not know the playing field of unions. Therefore, they're going to play soccer with a rugby ball.
Yeah, indeed. We go for a quick break and then return for second half.
If love would come my way, sitting waiting for my life to start. Oh yeah, I couldn't help but wonder if I'd see a brighter day, that I would find some peace of mind, and love would fill my heart. Thanks to you, I got a reason every day to keep believing I can do.
We continue with Job Muniaro. Now, Mr. Muniaro, you spoke about bargaining. Is that the only time that you get involved? In other words, can you just stare at some violation of labor and say, oh, I can see this a violation, but because we don't have a bargaining arrangement there, does your job only end with bargaining?
You see, it's why I told you that we provide leadership. You have never seen a Namibian worker complaining that he was never helped when he reached any of my offices. Whether you are a member of the union or not, even whether they are members of another union, but accidentally when they come, they will properly advise these people what to do. Either to go back to unions. If he says my union is no longer assisting me properly, I actually also say quite fine. Because sometimes I must be able to tell people what the value is of NUNW and its affiliates. So we assist these people. We succeeded in this many cases. And these people, at the end, they have been going around to campaign. But bargaining is not about issue about just saying that's about who and not who. All of us, we are field workers. So why you see me always in the morning, I sit at the office for 1 hour, I'll be going to brewery. The next hour, I will go to Namibian mills. The next day, other day, I will go somewhere. So it tells you that all of us need to know the circumstances on the ground. So why you see during COVID, we were proactive. It's us that bring the rules that people rejected. After rejecting these rules, the employers have gone to court, they have money, they rejected, but they are suffering the same consequences. They are closing business and no longer making business because they didn't want to look into our advices, not even to read through them and understand what we want to rescue. So with us, we say the bargaining is not a factor. The factor is the worker.
Sure.
That must not suffer the consequences of any mistreatment.
Just before, I think the last question on this particular issue, I just want to understand, Mr. Muniaro, do you think that all these groupings that I mentioned earlier who are now rushing to premises of supposed abusive employers in Chinatown and everywhere, what is your interpretation of their involvement? Do you think it's pure politics? trying to score cheap points, or is because the unions are not doing their work?
You see, sometimes we say unions does not do their work. What type of work does the unions not do that they want to do?
Well, such as
You
letting,
see,
such as letting
we are not responsible for closing shops. That's not our work. Our work is our aim is to make sure the Namibian workers are not losing their jobs, and we improve their living conditions, or we negotiate for a better salary. That's our job. The moment I close a shop, then I have never saved the worker. I'm killing the worker equally in the children. So but that is where I'm saying it's two different things.
But Mr. Muniaro, that is exactly, you see, if an abusive employer was listening to you right now, they'll be dancing to it. They'll be very happy now to hear that, because closing down a shop is a very radical, might be very unpopular decision in that moment, but meant for a long-term solution. If I'm an abusive employer and I'm told that I have no risk of my shop being closed down by NUNW, I mean, I'll be very happy to hear that.
Comrade, I don't want to buy into your questions. We have ShopRite this year. We did not close ShopRite. But all these countries that have ShopRites in Angola up to Nigeria, they benefited through our negotiation that has never closed one shop. So we know what to do. We are not chance takers.
Okay, let's talk about FEMA. I know that you pronounce yourself on that Financial Institutions Markets Act, FEMA, that was contentious. I know now that government has sort of applied brakes on it. What was your particular concern with that one? Because I remember you also issued a statement.
Yes, thank you. Also, the concern is not for myself. The past workers, the present workers, and the future workers was having a concern.
Yeah.
You see, you can't take money that belongs to workers 100%, and you enact a law in terms of that money, and the money belongs to workers, and the workers themselves does not know about the law that you have enacted in terms of their money. That shouldn't have happened. This is the things that equally brings political instability in countries. Because just to say, I'm going to take a decision in terms of the workers' money. Go to Social Security. What happens to that? It's included in that FEMA. Pension money is included in that FEMA. Now you actually want to diplomatically keep the money for yourself, either to use it in your budgets, or either to use it as a guarantee to where you want to borrow money, or what is it that you want to do with it? If the owners of the money has never known what you are planning to do with their money that they are investing.
Yeah.
The other thing is, when FISA says they want to save the money for the workers not to suffer in the future, the Namibian people are suffering because we lost the money. Why did they not put laws that protect that money that was stolen? All of us have corruption cases. Why did you not enact laws that protects that money? We are waiting to lose billions and billions of trillions of money from government. Now you want to come and protected money already. That is already protected. They want to protect that money.
Yeah.
It's not fair, comrade.
Yeah.
Look into that. How many children are going to lose? For instance, if I get sick now today, if I retire, I must only get a certain amount, 25% of that. It tells you that they have not protected that money. They are killing me psychologically. Because I will not be able to pay off my house. I will not be able to pay my children to school. Neither my car. I must surrender all these people, all these things, my properties and everything to surrender, because I don't get access to my own money to pay off my houses and all things. So, and equally also to make sure, you can't say you want these people to resign before October. You know how people ran to my office? They say, no, we're going to resign. If you have 64,000 teachers, 50,000 says we're going to resign. Do you have teachers to replace those people?
Yeah.
Are we playing with the economy of this country? Playing with politics of this country? Why did you build schools? If you were threatening to close the schools full of teachers and technicians.
Yeah.
Why did you build hospitals? People are dying of COVID.
Yeah.
But still you are provoking nurses to resign.
Yeah.
And take their pension and go home. Where will you get nurses? Those experienced people.
Exactly.
Some of the time bombs, we must not play with it. We must think before we take a decision.
Yeah.
Because it's not about saving money. You are killing other people.
I hear you. In 30 seconds, the FEMA has now been packed. I know that the Minister of Finance was scheduled to meet with some stakeholders, I think, including NUNW. Did that meeting take place? And do you think that the decision to shelve this whole thing was because you met and maybe demanded that it be packed?
You see, it's why I said it was in the beginning that NUNW is promoting leadership. We are not stone throwers. So when these things was announced and this laws was taken through the windows and all things, it's not a crime. We ought to understand why was it done without the consent of the money owners, fund owners. So we had a meeting on the 11th with the Minister of Finance, together with FEMA leadership. NAMFISA, sorry. But after our explanation, they have understood us, where we are coming from and where we want to go. Not just us as a federation, but the country too. Because we can't go that way. We are going to destroy this country economically and politically. Yeah. And that should not be the consequences of us not wanting to listen to each other, not wanting to think wise and all those things.
Yeah.
They accepted as a comrade. What you said as a federation is true. We let us suspend these issues. Let the minister then now establish a team that goes and consult broadly. If there is a need for a new regulation to be established, or there is a need for a law to be amended, let it be amended in the interest of the Namibian people. That is wise from a Minister of Finance who have been listening to our advices too.
Yeah.
So we are still waiting for the Minister to establish the committee, of which I know NUNW will be part and parcel of that.
Indeed.
And I want us to go broadly, the whole country, the way we did with the minimum wages.
Yeah.
So that we cannot leave anybody behind, but at least we have all employers included. Because employers are not just there to deduct money.
Yeah.
They equally contribute a little bit to money to boost the pension of their workers.
Indeed.
So and that money cannot just be packed somewhere and their workers goes home. For instance, now you have security guards now. Here.
Yeah, yeah. The time is not...
These guys are sleeping in plastic bags for tomorrow. But after retirement, you say I will still give you just a 9,000 to go and build another plastic bag in Maheke and sleep in it. Is that fair?
It's not fair. Job, I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming. It's always nice to have you here.
Thank you very much. I think lastly, I want to call still Namibian people, Namibian workers, and all to make sure that we adhere to the COVID rules to avoid losing our brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers. Stay well, stay home, wear mask, wash your hands.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Muniaro. That is Job Muniaro, Secretary General of the NUNW, speaking to us about those issues. Thank you for watching and good night.
Good night.